are standing in a vast athletic field, part of a crowd of thousands of cheering Burmese watching the festivities. Here's a balloon coming into view. It was brought in on a truck, and now dozens of people are unfolding it, getting it ready for its ascent into the sky. When the balloon is inflated by hot air, it will be 22 feet in height, more than 7 meters, nearly as tall as a 3-story building. It is the 5th of November, 1995, and we are in Burma to participate in the Buddhist celebration of Tazaungdaing on the full moon day this month. Tazaungdaing is an important religious festival celebrated throughout the country, but we are witnessing the festival in the city of Tazaungdaing, capital of Shan State, in the eastern part of Burma, bordering on Thailand and China. We have chosen Tazaungdaing to experience this festival of the full moon because here it is celebrated in a very special way, by sending enormous paper fire balloons up to Buddha and the heavens. The holiday marks the end of Buddhist Lent, when Buddha went to heaven to preach. Then he returned to earth, and now on this day, the faithful Buddhists of Tazaungdaing are welcoming the Buddha with the lights of the fire balloons. Here's one of the flaming torches being lit, which provides the hot air for inflation.
Use it with the balloon.
And the balloon is starting to take shape. Those flaming torches at the base provide the hot air for inflation. Dozens of hands are guiding the balloon. It takes remarkable teamwork on the part of these people who are working on it. They have to handle the burning fires of the torches and the logistics of getting enough fire in there to produce sufficient hot air and yet not allow the paper balloon to catch on fire. In the background, we hear the voice of the director of the balloon festival. He acts as the master of ceremonies and informs the crowd as to what is going on. The festival is actually a competition for the balloon makers. These are ordinary people, volunteers from various sections of the city, who have grouped together to produce the balloons, which will be judged on creativity, performance, workmanship, and a whole list of criteria. At the end of the festival, prizes will be awarded to the winners. Now we see an iron rod being prepared. It's the final fire element that will lift the balloon into the heavens. And over here, another section is being prepared. It's a giant structure of fireworks and rockets. The men are getting ready to attach it to the balloon. The iron rod has already been wired to a bamboo ring at the base of the balloon. Now they're firing up the iron rod. And they're letting their balloon take off. The rockets are exploding, lighting up the sky with a dazzling display. Meanwhile, another group is starting up. Colorful banners are paraded by. There's a shrine passing us. The balloon makers will pray at that shrine before setting up their balloon. and we see hundreds of candles being lighted. These candles will be used to decorate the next balloon. Here's another group of candles that will hang from the base of this balloon. It will actually spell out a message in the Burmese language. The balloon is inflating now, and the volunteers are attaching the candles to the outside of the balloon. Each candle is in a little cup with a hook at the top. The hook is fitted into a small flap on the balloon. This is not an easy job. The balloon is swaying in the wind. The workers are scrambling to attach the candles as the balloon is gradually inflating and rising. Meanwhile, the booming voice of the festival director has been exhorting the crew to work faster and get their balloon launched, because other groups are waiting. The people are rushing to attach all those candles. Suddenly it's finished. And now it takes off amid the cheers of the crowd. These balloons are incredible. Our next mission is to find out how they are made. Our guide, Do Mo, promises to take us to a balloon workshop the next morning. In the morning, we walk to a small monastery nearby. It's used as a community center, one of several throughout the city. The leader of this workshop is Tazaungdaing, and he's explaining to us how the balloons are fashioned. We see the iron piece that is attached to the base of the balloon to provide the fire. It is covered with fabric that has been specially prepared. Strips of old monks' robes are boiled for hours in a mixture of paraffin and kerosene. Then they are wrapped around the iron. Over here is a man working on the fire element, wrapping it with the strips of fabric. Altogether, there are about 50 to 60 people at this monastery engaged in making the balloons. Now we are inside the monastery, looking at a huge balloon that is scheduled to go up this afternoon. It will take the shape of a giant tortoise. Tazaungdaing tells us that in the daytime, all the balloons that are sent up are created in the shapes of animals, fish, or birds. So he has designed this immense tortoise. It is made entirely of handmade paper that he buys from a local paper maker in Shan State. There is no supporting structure inside the balloon. It is simply made from sheets of paper glued together with rice paste. The rules of the balloon competition state that the balloons sent up at night must be made of handmade paper, but the daytime balloons can be either handmade paper or commercial paper. The volunteers we see here spend 4 to 8 weeks before the competition to make the balloons, and each big balloon needs at least 500 large sheets of paper. The man working here shows us how he carefully glues the sheets together. The seams are made very precisely, the paper overlapping in a special way. This particular balloon is made from a waxy commercial paper. All around, we see scraps of paper and animals in progress. Even the fireworks and rockets for the balloons are made right here by hand. We see dishes containing carbon, sulfur, and aluminum, the ingredients for gunpowder. These will be precisely weighed out on a scale. And high on a counter is a row of gleaming golden Buddhas watching over us. The Buddha images remind us that we are indeed inside a monastery. Outside the monastery, we can see up close how the whole rocket assembly is put together. The wicks for the rockets are made by twisting strips of handmade paper filled with the gunpowder. The wicks will burn at the rate of 1 foot or 30 centimeters per minute, and this will set off the rockets at various intervals. Now some of the balloons are coming out of the monastery to be carried to the field. The wild and joyous singing and dancing that we hear accompanies everything. Here are 2 balloons on their way to the athletic field. Our next mission is a visit to one of the hand paper makers in Shan State. Damo Mo plans to take us to Pindaya, a town about 2 hours from Tonji. We're approaching the house of Ma Tu, the paper maker. We've been introduced to her, and Ma Tu is explaining her paper-making process. The paper in Shan State is made from the inner bark of the paper mulberry tree. Ma Tu is holding a piece of it. In the Shan language, it is called sa. In China, the paper mulberry is called go. In Japan, it is kozo. Ma Tu buys the stripped saw fiber from woodcutters in the forest. She soaks the fiber overnight, then cooks it in water with wood ash. Ma Tu's husband, Ye Mint, is showing us how he prepares the wood ash for the cooking. The ash is collected from the kitchen of the hotel that is nearby. Ye Mint simply adds water to the ash, stirs it in, he takes out some bits of extraneous matter that has also been collected with the wood ash. Now he pours the whole thing into the cooking pot, which is a large iron barrel. It's 10 pounds of ash for one cooking. Ma Tu explains the entire cooking procedure to us. The pot is covered by a piece of burlap to keep the water boiling. A wood fire burns underneath. Occasionally, she stirs the fiber in the pot to be sure that the fiber cooks evenly. The cooking takes 24 hours. Ma Tu explains that she cooks 3 vis. That's about 10 pounds. Cooks that for 12 hours, takes out the fiber, and cooks another 3 vis for the next 12 hours. This is enough fiber to make 200 sheets of very large paper. When the cooking is finished, Ma Tu rinses the fiber. Now Ma Tu has started to beat the mulberry fiber. She pounds a handful at a time using 2 wooden mallets. Each handful will make 1 sheet of paper. The next step is preparation of the molds for paper making. Each mold consists of a wood frame on which cloth is stretched tightly. She's rubbing the cloth with a little oil. This helps removal of the paper after it dries. Now Matu fills the long concrete trough outside her house with water. The water had been brought up in pails from the lake across from the house and poured into the deep concrete pit at one end of the trough. The pit is filled with fresh water every week. Now Matu places 6 molds in the trough, submerging them so that the molds have a reservoir of water in each of them. Then she throws a ball of beaten pulp onto each mold. She bends down, and at each mold she picks up the ball of pulp, puts it into a small container, let's watch this one closely. She's adding the water from the trough, and now she quickly disperses the ball of pulp in the bowl of water using a pronged stick. Now she pours the watery pulp back onto the mold. Then she works on each submerged mold, dispersing the pulp with deft motions of her hands. See how she's balancing herself on the stick stretched across the trough. Now watch this step. Matu is pulling the plug out of the end of the trough, and all the water is draining out back into the well. Over the years, we have seen many paper makers in Shan State, but this is the first place where we have seen this type of production paper making. Everywhere else, sheets have been formed just one at a time in a single raised vat. As soon as the water has completely drained out, Matu picks up the molds and takes them to a sunny spot to dry. You can see how the paper pulp is coalesced on the mold, forming the sheet of paper. When the sheets have completely dried in the sun, Matu simply pulls or peels each sheet from its mold, folding the sheet in half as she does this. And that's the whole process of paper making here. The paper is not pressed. When it is removed from the mold, it is finished, ready to be sold in the market for paper umbrellas, for books, lanterns, and for paper fire balloons. We are back in Tazaungdaing at the athletic field again, watching the animal balloons go off into the sky and enjoying the excitement of the people. 2 pigs are floating by us. An elephant was just fired up, and now he's soaring upward amid the cheers of the crowd. And now what's this? It's a giant bird. Oh, and there's another one behind it. The crowd is going wild. And here's a chicken. Now there's a duck. And we see a huge animal. I don't know what this one is, but uh-oh, he's in trouble. The people are valiantly trying to launch it, but it's no use. They're beating out the flames. The fire is flaring up again. Now the crowd is starting to move away from the flames, and we'll see what happens next. Oh, we can hear the sounds of a fire engine. And here comes the fire engine, pulling up to finish off the fire. And the parade of the balloons continues. A striped fish is next. You can clearly see the fire element at the base of the fish. And finally, our friend's tortoise is coming into view. We had been wondering when we would see it. Now we're just praying that it will fly. It's a fantastic sight. And the crowd is cheering madly. He's a little slow to get started, but tortoises are slow creatures. Is he going to make it? Yes, there he goes. Slowly, straight up into the sky. Here's a group with a strange figure. Oh, it's a dinosaur. Those animals couldn't survive on land. Now, do you think this one can really fly? We'll see in a moment. And there it goes, right up to Buddha. We are leaving the athletic field now. We see one more strange sight. A tattoo artist has set up shop here, and we stopped to watch his artistry. We've noticed that the men in Shan State are often heavily tattooed. It's quite an art here. And this man is getting quite a decorative tattoo. And now we are witnessing another part of this religious festival of Tazaungdaing. Once a year, the Burmese, most of whom are devout Buddhists, make a special donation to the monasteries. The donations are goods for the monks and money for the upkeep of the monasteries. floats are amazing. When we look closely, we see that they consist of pots and pans, calendars, clocks, prayer books, umbrellas, robes, towels, soap, bowls, everything artfully arranged in elaborate displays. Here's a shrine coming into view, made entirely of folded paper currency. There's a big bird, also made of paper currency. And there's an owl that's composed mostly of brooms for the monks and a few umbrellas. Groups of people from all over the area have made these floats, which are being paraded through the main streets, finishing at the largest monastery in the city. All the people in Tangi contribute to this, and all come out to watch. Everyone is either part of the parade or part of the audience. Even the money donations are folded into flowers or fans. Here comes the large money tree. There's another one on the left, too. Oh, another big bird, also made entirely of Burmese paper money. The processions end at the monastery. We are heading there also. And there are the floats that are being carried into the monastery. Inside, there are dozens of volunteers who dismantle the arrangements. They're sorting out all the piles of stuff that has been donated. After they tally everything, the goods and the money are apportioned to each of the many, many monasteries in the city. Over here, these ladies are patiently taking apart all those folded paper money pieces which had been so carefully arranged to form the displays. Outside again, we are watching more of the festivities. Here's a procession of young boys on horses. They are being initiated as monks today, and that gives cause for great celebration. And we see another amazing performance. It's a traditional Shan dance. The young men are dressed in the old-style Shan clothing that is seldom seen now. And the dance they are doing is a show of mock fighting.
Dancing with his guitar and tuba. This is a traditional martial art. In Sanskrit.
It is evening now, and we have returned to the field for another night of fire balloon watching. It's hard to stay away. The crowd is cheering a remarkable balloon that is promoting the theme of unity in Burma. 4 ethnic groups of Burma are pictured in candles on the outside of the balloon. This balloon required a tremendous number of candles to form the design, taking a long time for setup. The festival director kept urging the group to hurry as others were waiting with their balloons. There's another rocket balloon going up into the heavens. Maybe these are the fireworks that we saw this morning at the workshop. We inquire of the director of the festival how high the balloons will fly, but no one knows the answer. This festival has been an extraordinary experience. As papermakers, we have been enthralled by seeing handmade paper used to make hot air fire balloons. But also, we have been overwhelmed by the music, the dancing, the fervor, the energy of all the people here, young and old, who are exuberantly celebrating this important Buddhist holy day. In many parts of Asia, people no longer adhere to the old ways of practicing their religion, and so the ancient customs have disappeared, occasionally revived for the benefit of tourists. But here, we see a truly Burmese celebration for and by the people, honoring Buddha in these very special ways that we have been privileged to witness on the full moon day of November.